Good evening. Tshwane residents are worried about the number of substations that have recently burned down in the area, causing major outages. The Mooikloof substation in eastern Pretoria is the latest to go up in flames, leaving thousands without power. Municipal officials confirmed an explosion on Wednesday night, resulting in a fire. But residents are angry as they face a weekend without electricity. And for more on this, we're now joined by Themba Fosi, who is the MMC for Utilities in the city of Tshwane. And he joins us now via our telephone line. Themba, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Let's start off here. This is a major inconvenience for the residents of Tshwane, especially when a number of South Africans have received a break from load shedding. Why do we continue to see these substations, blowing up in the city of Tshwane?
Good evening, Barry. Good evening to your viewers. I think we need to put things into context. Each and every substation has its own merits. We cannot just holistically have a blanket approach and say that all substations, as a result of theft, as per the views that just was just listening to. So we can't say that because one, it's the issue of theft. It's a non-starter, especially at the Mooikloof, because that substation is inside an estate, so it's highly guarded and very much protected. That is one. Second part is that perhaps to assist us to know what has caused the outage and obviously the eventual burning of this infrastructure. One, there was a maintenance that was done, that was actually ongoing in that area, which was a leak. And when the guys with the TLB were doing the earthworks on that line, and then it caught fire, eventually it burnt our panels and eventually the substation. The damage is obviously amounting to millions. As I speak to you, there's all hands on deck so far as our services, repair team, switching team, and our systems operators who are there to make sure that we expedite the issues of restoration in that area.
And of course, you are saying that, this is an isolated case, but just listening there to my colleague Patricia, who has been covering the story for quite some time in the city of Tshwane, it seems as if there are multiple issues with some of the substations in the city of Tshwane, and hence why we are seeing the story. And as the city of Tshwane, what are you doing to try to ensure that we don't see more of these substations being, or rather burning?
The issue of vandalism and theft are issues that are happening South Africa-wide. It's not isolated to the city of Tshwane. I appreciate that currently in Johannesburg there's quite a lot that people have been out of electricity for a number of days. As I'm focusing on this, the issue of Mooikloof is as a result of an accident that happened during maintenance, because there was a cable, the feeder cable that needed to be repaired. As a result, the TLB had the cable, and eventually the protection was lost, and to a certain extent, the issue of the burning of that substation happened. We have these areas, key areas where, like our infant stations, where we do have and are providing security services and watchmen. But it would take an army to guard a substation. We are currently undergoing a tender process to appoint a service provider, a security service provider, to be able to augment on what we currently have. But it is humanly impossible to have all these cables or even our infrastructure all protected by watchmen, because you put 10 securities, the guys that are coming to steal electricity or to steal our infrastructure cables and panels, they come there at 50. The number is 50. In one instance where a security guard was killed, these guys, they were about 25 guys. So you can, the market of copper cable is so much big that these people are now desperate to hang on to each and every thread of a cable. So what needs to happen now is the deployment of technology, making sure that we've got technology instead of human warm bodies, so that they can be able to assist in safeguarding our equipment and our infrastructure.
And Mr. Fosi, have you reached out to the police to try and rope them in terms of trying to deal with what you're saying is the vandalism being faced at a number of the substations in the city of Tshwane?
Yeah, we have reached that. We do have a cable theft unit. We do have contact depending on which area it is, because it's not a one-shoe-fits-all exercise. There are areas which we're working with local CPFs, working with private security, and obviously our residents who are also guarding our infrastructure. There are areas which are hotspots which we are guarding. So that's why I'm saying the approach here, it's not a one-shoe-fits-all exercise, because there's other areas which we've got residents who are upfront and are willing to assist us so far as safeguarding our infrastructure. But then there are areas which are volatile where we have put in security in areas like the Nyala substation, the Watlu substation, where these are volatile, and we've got a huge number of residents that are connected into that grid that it warrants us to then be able to safeguard. But we are doing something, because as I speak to you, we are awaiting the awarding of a contract to a supplier that has won the bid so that they can be able to deploy their securities and augment on what we currently have.
And MMC, when it comes to the Mooikloof substation and seeing how frustrated those residents are, how long will it take for the substation, of course, to be repaired so that these residents can have access to electricity?
At this point in time, Bali, we cannot confirm. We would rather give milestones to residents. That currently, as I speak to you, the two transformers that are on site have been tested, and they're all tested okay. The earthworks has been done on the substation, and the cable, the provisions of cable has now been done, and all cables are there, all teams are there, so all hands are on deck in making sure that once work is at least 50%, we would then be able to communicate to our residents. But I can promise you that we are working day and night to make sure that our residents are restored timeously, so that they can be able to get their lives back to order. We apologize extremely for the inconvenience that has been happening. We will, after proper investigation and all of that, we will issue a statement to say what in the near future, this is what we're going to do so far as the preventative maintenance on the business. You'd appreciate that also our finances at this point in time, they're in such a way that we can't do maintenance. But we've got 25 billion that is residing with business or with residents, that's out to the city of Tshwane. Where with this money we could be able to do proper maintenance and making sure that the very same infrastructure that we invested there gets to be taken care of, and such instances are avoided in the near future.
All right, Mr. Fosi, thank you so much for your time this evening. That is Themba Fosi, MMC for Utilities in the city of Tshwane, just talking about that Mooikloof substation, which did indeed burn down earlier on in the week. And of course, they're saying that all hands are on deck to try and ensure that residents can get reconnected to the electricity as soon as possible.